Hey, what's up? Kind of rusty on here. It's been about a couple weeks since I played guitar, since moving into this new spot we have here. See if I can try it again here. Give me a couple of minutes here. And I'm getting the hang of it again. Probably gotta do this more often. It ain't like getting on a bike and riding away simply like you did as a kid. You gotta keep practicing and practicing, and with the amount of work I've been doing at my job and plus, everything else, I haven't been able to do much guitar playing as of yet. I've also been thinking about possibly doing a couple more guitar jam videos for my channel here. But of course I gotta find the perfect beat and the perfect rhythms, perfect riffs for it, And by the way, I want to make a little something here. Instead of people asking me to do guitar covers of various tunes, like say doing Paranoid or Thunderstruck, I preferred some original material like this, like something like this. Something I came up with not too long ago. I like to keep things a little bit original, keep it a little bit different, Now, the basic of this particular video is discuss the many people who have influenced me to play guitar, I started playing guitar when I was about 11 years old after seeing a couple photographs of John Lennon with his Rickenbacker and Paul Stanley holding his guitar in a certain position. I thought that was pretty cool. And basically I took guitar lessons at a place called Anderson Music when we still lived in Roseville. I remember hearing some good stuff, playing some stuff there. It took a while to really get used to it. I quit for a while and then I picked it up again after hearing King Crimson's Robert Fripp and the stuff what he was doing on the early Crimson records like Lizard, In the Wake of Paldizian, Islands, It fits to say that Robert Fripp was one of the first real avant-garde guitar players out there back in the 70s, Later on, I would later get into him and his work again with when he started working with Adrian Belew in the 80s version of King Crimson. So Robert Fripp was one of the main influences on why I picked up the guitar again. And plus, we also got to add Tony Iommi and Randy Rhoads into the mix. When I picked it up again, I heard the stuff that Randy Rhoads was doing. It's like, I figured it's similar to what the Eddie Van Halen was doing. I started taking guitar lessons again, this one from a guy who my sister knew, whose name escapes me. Basically, he influenced and turned me on to a lot of stuff like some Joe Walsh tunes, Leonard Skinner stuff there. Playing stuff like songs from Diary of a Madman, the second Ozzy solo record. I was really big on that record. I wanted to play like Randy Rhoads. But for some oddball reason, I sounded more like Tony Iommi, the guitar god from Black Sabbath. And it fits to say that Iommi also had a big influence on me because at the time I was picking up every Black Sabbath record on vinyl and listening to the guitar, how it sounds, how it was played and stuff, what kind of pedals, what kind of pickups that the dude used. So he remains a big influence on my playing as well. Also got to add this guy in to my list here, James Williamson, who was the guitar player on the album Raw Power by Iggy and the Stooges. The sound of that guitar and the way it was played was like a thrust. It was like a brick wall shoved in your face. I mean, the opening song, Search and Destroy, pretty much sums it up, you know. And it doesn't matter which mix that you get, whether it's the original David Bowie mix or the remix by the Iggy Pop in 1997. That guitar, the power of that guitar, the way it sounded, it was like boom, bam. So you got to add him onto my list there. We cannot also forget David Gilmour, the brawn behind Pink Floyd. People would say that Roger Waters was the brain, but David Gilmour was the brawn of Pink Floyd, basically. This is a man that basically, even though he says the coordination between his left and right hands were terrible at one point, so he tries to pick up all these guitar pedals and effects, basically try to make it sing. David, the moment you play, your guitar sings right then on the dot. And a lot of times, that guitar singing that you perform is brilliantly magnificent. The stuff he did on Comfortably Numb, Young Lust, Time, Money, Wish You Were Here, Shine On You Crazy Diamond, Have a Cigar, Dogs, Pigs, 3 different ones, the stuff he did on Obscured by Clouds, More, Amagama, absolutely phenomenal. He played slow, but he played powerful. He played with power, basically. Like I said earlier on, I got to add Robert Fripp to as well, because as I mentioned, he was one of the first avant-garde guitar players out there. I was going to add Ritchie Blackmore, who I was into at that time as well. This was a man who was really had a lot more attitude in his guitar playing as well. I mean, the antics he did while watching Rainbow Live from 1982 in San Antonio, Texas, when MTV still had their Saturday night concerts, played a big part in it as well. The way he often twirled his guitar around, doing this a lot of times, always switching on what pickups to use for a solo or a chord and such. That was interesting to watch, Of course, but the big phenomenal moment is when he used to smash that thing towards the end, He would turn the reverbs and the volume up so that when it hit the ground, it sounded like a explosion, if you notice, You gotta say that Blackmore is one of the real madmen out there next to Hendrix. Of course, we got to give it up to Jimmy, the man who basically made playing left hand cool next to Paul McCartney. What can I say about Jimmy? He was an icon, or better yet, to say he was an icon would be an absolute understatement. The man was a skilled guitar player. The man made guitar feedback his best friend and songwriting partner at times. It's kind of funny to say that, because he had a lot of feedback on his during his live performances, and he used that to his credit, especially with this. And you got to give it up to what he was doing in the studio as well, because he came up with some pretty nifty ideas, you know, playing backwards, you know, making this stuff sound like, basically making his guitar sound backwards, you know, through studio techniques at that time, you know, thanks to Eddie Kramer, his engineer. You know, also we got to give it up to other guitarists out throughout. Excuse me, let me rephrase that. Other guitar players out there who do deserve a lot of credit, like Michael Schenker, you know, Brian May of Queen, and a whole lot of others. I'm going to dabble with this a little bit more. I figure I could make a video here and talk about some of the people who influenced me to play this thing right here. Like I said, I should make another guitar jam video pretty soon. A couple more licks. And I should be all set to go. I'm Dr. Earl. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel, hit that like button, and leave some comments below. Rock on, baby.